time I go out, I could get the charge. Every time I go out, I'm pulling a bra. Every time I go out, I'm foreign car. Every time I go out, they say they go God. Every time I go out, I could get the charge. Every time I go out, they looking at me. Every time that I go out, they looking at me. I'm thinking she want a young nigga like me. Jump in the car and get high and ride out with me. Every time I go out, you see me, I'm fly. Every time I go out, you look in the sky. That's how I fly, I am. Look in the sky, you see me. Nigga, they trying to beat me on the low though. I pull up with 4 hoes in a two-door. They wanna kick it with me like I'm teaching on judo. I'm far away, I'm playing the X, that's miles away from Pluto. Cartier guy, Cartier guy. Every time I go out, I'm pulling a ride. Every time I go out, it's for your car. Every time I go out, they say they go God. Every time I go out, I could get your charge. Every time I go out, I'm pulling a bra. Every time I go out, it's for a car. Every time I go out, they say they go God. Yeah, every time I go out, I could get your charge. Every time I go out, every time I go out, every time I go out, and Cartier God. Every time I go out, every time I go out, every time I go out, I'm pulling your bra. I'm out just as soon as you see city lights. All in the banner with something that's green, yellow, pink, and then white. If I wanna kick in the door, out the back door I take flight. Concealing a pistol, so if you get visible, nigga, I'm shooting on sight. I call on my partner and soon if I'm ring, he pull up and cut the Supreme. Every time that we go out, my nigga, we making the scene. I pull up and Robbie, jump out and just sip it and holding the pick up a lean. They Cartier guy, I just pull your hoe, cause she putting back on her jeans. Yeah. Every time I go out, every time I go out, they say they go God. Every time I go out, I could get your charge. Every time I go out, I'm pulling a bra. Every time I go out, it's for a car. Every time I go out, they say they go God. Every time I go out,